my actions, my personal conviction is to support migration and very much support a multicultural society. Multiculturalism is Australia, and there have been many attacks by the Morrison government on multiculturalism, on freedom of speech, and also we know that there are 230,000 citizenship applications that have not been processed by the Morrison government, and many of those applications would be, of course, from the Nepalese community. We were able to combine with cross parties and the Greens to defeat those laws. Well, my job is to represent the people of Barton, including this enormously fabulous growing Nepalese community. And to me, that responsibility to represent you, to take into Parliament what your loves are, what your pains are, what your desires are. I'm also a shadow minister, and if there's a change of government on the 18th of May, I will be a minister in a shortened cabinet. And that means that the Barton electorate will have a minister in the cabinet, and that's really exciting. I want people to make decisions about this election based not on cultural background, but based on the issues that are facing Australia.
Hello, namaste. Welcome to Nepal too. May 18, the day of Australian federal election. The 2019 federal election really able to attract the whole Nepali Australian community, because very first time in the history, the son of Nepali migrants' father is also in the battlefield. Mr. Pramod Shrestha, a Liberal candidate in Sydney's Barton electoral. He is quite positive to get the victory, thinking that significant number of immigrants people will vote him. The high density of Nepali migrants living in Barton really boosts the confidence of Mr. Pramod. However, experienced and popular opponent seems huge obstacles for him. Linda Burney, a standing member of Australian Parliament from Barton. This outstanding lady also a candidate in Barton. As being a first ever Aboriginal person representing in Australian Parliament, Linda has serving the nation and people over the decades. She is also a shadow minister for families and social services. I have invited this outstanding lady to talk about her election campaign. Without further ado, let's welcome Miss Linda. Hello Linda, welcome to Nepal to Australia.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for providing this opportunity to talk to you.
And thank you for your thank you for providing me with the opportunity as well.
And first of all, I'd like to congratulate to be a first female, Aboriginal female representing in Australian Federal Parliament. And I'm just wondering how easy it is to be there as an Aboriginal woman.
Well, it's very honourable for me to be able to do this. My community, the Aboriginal community, is absolutely thrilled that I'm representing the seat of Barton. And the people of Barton, including the Nepalese community, are also very proud of the fact that they have elected the first Indigenous woman to be into the House of Representatives. I've had great contact with the Nepalese community and had a wonderful celebration a couple of weeks ago for New Year, and I really appreciate it.
You have already served the nation and people over the decade. Do you think you have accomplished your goal in your life as a representative of people of Australia?
Well, my job is to represent the people of Barton, including this enormously fabulous growing Nepalese community. There's about 6,500 people in the seat of Barton that are Nepalese and people that vote. And to me, that responsibility to represent you, to take into Parliament what your loves are, what your pains are, what your desires are, what your vision is for being part of the Australian community. And of course, the other thing is that I have learnt so much from the Nepalese community, but also learnt that Barton is a very multicultural seat, and multiculturalism is the strength of the Australian community.
And you already serve as a representative of Barton. What made you to think to come again in the battlefield?
Well, I believe that there needs to be good, strong and consistent representation for the seat of Barton. I love Barton, I love the people in Barton, and I feel very compelled to do my very best to represent you and your community in the federal parliament. Being in the federal parliament is a great honour. It is an enormous responsibility, and I think the most important thing is your representative needs to be able to reflect your views, to listen to you, to have a contact with your community, and make sure that you always speak on behalf of the community within the parliament. I'm also a shadow minister, and if there's a change of government on the 18th of May, I will be a minister in a shortened cabinet, and that means that the Barton electorate will have a minister in the cabinet, and that's really exciting.
Wow. Having said that, would you mind to highlight your election campaign going on so far?
Yes. The focus of the election campaign in Barton is to protect multiculturalism, and there have been many attacks by the Morrison government on multiculturalism, on freedom of speech, and also we know that there are 230,000 citizenship applications that have not been processed by the Morrison government, and many of those applications would be, of course, from the Nepalese community. We're also focusing very heavily on schools and education and on hospitals and healthcare. And we are also focusing on the environment. We have the Cooks River running through our electorate. It's a very polluted river, and we are doing many, many things in terms of cleaning that river up, so it's a resource for all of us. But the really exciting thing, as well as those, is that we have a fantastic cancer plan. So cancer will be, if you are one of those families that are struck by the tragedy of cancer, it won't send you broke. Labor will make sure that cancer treatment is funded. And really exciting as well is that we're going to make preschool available for all 3-year-olds, not only in Barton but right across this country.
So let's discuss about the migration issues. We have heard that you have talked on this issue several times. So being as a migrant and multicultural society, so people here are very concerned about frequently changing migration law.
Yes.
And recently, one of the migration law has been changed. They made few changes in the migration law. How would you react? How would you respond?
Well, I am on record. My speeches in the Parliament, my actions, my personal conviction is to support migration and very much support a multicultural society. Multiculturalism is Australia. Australia has been built on multiculturalism with the firm foundation of First Nations people. There has been enormous attempts to undermine good multiculturalism in this country, including changes to 18C, which the government attempted to bring in. We were able to combine with cross parties and the Greens to defeat those laws. I've already said that there are many citizenship applications that have not been processed, and the government's attempt to change citizenship requirements was something that Labor fought against very hard, in particular the English language test. Because you don't speak English perfectly does not mean you're not a good person, does not mean that you are not someone that should be embraced here in the Australian community. The government wanted to introduce a new English language test which was university level, level 6, and not even English is taught to that level in Australia. Labor fought against that and was successful in making sure that citizenship was available to all people, and we celebrate language, we celebrate culture, and most importantly, we do not expect people that come to this country to make their country home, to leave everything behind them. Language, culture, story is very important, and it makes Australia the great place that it is.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about the election campaign. This time, how easy and how hard it's gonna be. Because I'll just let you know that there is a son of migrant father who is on the battlefield against you in Barton area. So, how do you take this battle going on to be?
Well, I think you have to be respectful to the people that are contesting the election. I do understand that the Liberal candidate is a member of the Nepalese community, and I wish him all the very best. But I want people to look at my record over the last 3 years. I want people to understand that I believe in you and I represent you well, and I have done it to my very best ability. I want people to make decisions about this election based not on cultural background, but based on the issues that are facing Australia. Taxation, infrastructure, better hospitals, better schools, school experience, preschool experience for 3-year-olds, a good energy policy and climate change. These are the things that Labor is offering. Labor is offering a fair go for Australians, and I hope that people in all communities will look at me and look at my party's record on these issues and look what our policies are. We launched yesterday in Melbourne a fantastic women's policy that included really strong, incredibly important policies to address issues around family violence. And that is an issue that we need to speak about. It's an issue that we need to talk about and be honest about. Labor has almost trebled the funding for the prevention of family violence in Australia, and that also applies to all communities. I'm going to make sure in the family violence strategy there's a strategy that will help and support women from linguistically diverse backgrounds, as well as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women as well. We cannot have the scourge of family violence affecting our community, and Labor has a plan to do that. And the other fantastic thing about being a member of the Labor Party, after this election, 6 years ahead of time, over 50% of the Labor caucus will be women. And parliaments must represent and reflect the society at large. And having 50% women in our parliament makes our decisions better and makes decisions for this country better as well.
So if we analyze the voter in Barton, so there is almost 3 to 8% swing voter. This time, do you have a fear this swing could harmful to your victory?
I am doing all I can and working as hard as I can to make sure that Barton remains a Labor seat and I remain the member for Barton. It will be up to the voters on the 18th of May to decide whether I've done a good job. I have done my very best, and I have the respect, I think, of the community because I respect the community. And I believe that the outcome of the election on the 18th of May will be a very tight one. But I can tell you, I can assure people that I am working as hard as possible. I am paying as much respect as possible. I am making sure that the party I represent represents the voices and the people of Barton.
So on what basis you believe that you will be the 9th representative of Barton after 1922?
Well, I have faith in the people of Barton. I was the first woman elected to be a representative for the people of Barton. I come from an Aboriginal background and I understand disadvantage. I understand the importance of respecting culture and language. I am also somebody that lives in this seat. I have lived in this area for over 25 years. I know this seat well, and I hope that people can trust and put their vote in me and my party, the Labor Party, on the 18th of May.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.